Can't do it.
Okay.
We'll do it live.
Okay. No.
We'll do it live. F it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
What about now? Do you guys have sound? There's about a 25-second lag time, so let's see here.
No, we'll do it live.
Okay, so let's see here. Are you guys getting audio now? Sorry, give me one more second. What about now? Do you guys have sound? There we go. All right, so let's try that again. Welcome to the first ever Katz-Moses live stream. We're going to be doing a live Q&A. I'm going to be giving away some other prizes as well. And we're going to be announcing the winner for the ultimate router jig. So let's start with some questions here in the chat. We got it. All right, baby. We're good. All right, so here's a question that I really liked, which was from Small Workshop Guy, which is, many presenters who strike vendor sponsorship deals seem to get soured on them. Why do you think that is? How many subscribers do you need before you get the vendor's attention? So honestly, I get emails all the time, and most of them are, hey, we want to send you a free $70 product or $120 product, and we want you to do a whole review video on it. And I always turn those down. And honestly, I'm not really into sponsorships. I really don't think that my channel needs that. You know, we sell a lot of products here that you guys have shown great support in and great interest in, and I think that's been great for me. And I'm not saying that other creators shouldn't do sponsorships, because I know that's sort of the mainstay on a lot of channels. But for me, it seems to me that sponsorships are difficult. It costs a lot of money to produce a video, between the time spent shooting, the time spent editing, all of those things. I'd say every video I put out, depending on materials, costs anywhere from $500 to $1,000 to produce. And that's to make great content, and that's something I've really committed to in the last kind of 6 months, is making great content. And I think that sponsorships are great, but when you really start to get paid for those, I think, is when you get into the $100,000 range, 100,000 subscribers range. You know, I know a lot of creators who are sub 100,000, and they've said that a lot of the sponsorship things they get is just that free product, and they want an entire video. There's some great sponsors like Triton who just say, hey, you know, throw it in your video, no big deal, do whatever you need to, and they'll send you a ton of stuff. But I'm not opposed to it, but I think that there's an extreme variance between what creators are worth and what sponsors are willing to pay. So that's sort of a long answer there. I'll try and get to some more questions here. So the other question is from Michael Allen Templeton. What is the most prized tool in your shop? Oh gosh, I think my most used tool, of course, is my table saw. I just got a CNC machine, which you saw in the router video, that I thought was really, really cool. And obviously that's awesome, the CNC machine. I got Axiom Pro 6, which is pretty amazing. And we're going to be using that for engraving the stop blocks. The stop blocks are coming. We've had some manufacturing hurdles to jump over, but I think we've got it figured out now. I actually just placed an order with a manufacturer out of Connecticut, and what we're doing is extruding them. We're going to be pushing them through these dies, and that'll create that profile, and then we'll do some machining here in the shop and engrave them. So all be made in America. Some of it will be made in my shop, and those are coming out soon, and they are really neat. If you haven't checked them out, you should check them out. So we're going to get to the announcement for the router jig here in just a minute. What is the Amy Vet 76 asks, what's the ideal dust collector system? I use rough cut hardboards. Ideal dust collector system is going to be a 2-stage dust collector system with 6-inch piping. If you can get one that is 2 horsepower or better, I think that that's your best bet. But honestly, the best dust collector system is one that keeps dust out of your shop. Upgrading whatever dust collector you get to one with a filter makes a huge difference, because most of those felt bags are only down to 5 microns. And the most dangerous dust is sub 5 microns. That's the tiny particles that get into your lungs. So whatever you can do to best protect yourself, have good ventilation in your shop. You know, I am starting to get allergies to sawdust. I've never had allergies in my life, and some of that may have been the time we were shooting where I didn't have good dust collection in here, and we would have to shoot with the doors and windows closed, and that was not smart of me, and I feel like I'm paying for that now. So I put in a air filtration system as well as pipe dust collection throughout the shop, and it makes a massive difference. Also regular cleaning, we dust, we clean blow off shelves and things like that, so I think that makes a big difference. Yeah, Matthias was not too thrilled about sponsorships. He did not like that. But he also then 2 weeks later came out with a video saying how great the chainsaw was. So who knows, maybe he got something good about it. Sorry guys, this is just very small. So some other questions we have here are, how do you go about doing a live stream, equipment, software, etc.? So very briefly, because I know you guys are woodworkers and probably not too interested in this, there's a program called OBS. It's an open source software that you can download. There's a converter that you hook an HDMI cable out of your camera to the computer, and then you set up a special code from your YouTube channel to that software, and basically you stream. It was something I thought was going to be very easy, but it took us about 7 hours yesterday to figure out, about an hour this morning to dial everything in, and then after all of that I still put up a 14-minute live stream of us testing it, which I didn't think I had done. So pretty ridiculous. So it looks like, how many people do we have watching, Mark? 45 people watching. Okay. So when we hit 50, Mark, you let me know, and we'll do the ultimate router giveaway. So let's have some more questions, guys. Let me know what I can answer here for you. Mark DeBarge asks, how do you like the Triton products? They're great. They are a great company. And what I really like about it, I mean, they're great products. I love them. And one of my favorite things about Triton, aside from their great products, is they were the first company to really embrace creators. I mean, they sponsored Cremona and April Wilkerson, and they really invested in those sponsorships. They gave them tools. I'm sure they're paying them. They flew them all over the world to do demos. And they're one of the first companies that really just embraced what people are doing on YouTube in sort of a way that was commiserate with the work they were doing. So I think that's what's great about Triton, as well as they just really have very high quality products. That router you've seen in the last couple of videos comes with a built-in lift and lift crank, so you can just buy a $50 Craig plate, put it in the end of your table saw, and you already have a router table, which is absolutely incredible. So let's give away, who are your favorite woodworkers who also do YouTube? That's from Ian Flynn. And then we'll get to SE Collective's question about what the next product is. So, okay, my favorite YouTubers, you know, it's David Picciuto, who from day one, I mean, the day I started a channel, he took me under his wing, and he spent some time talking to me and really helping me out. And so, as a person, David Picciuto is hands down my favorite. But as a creator, he is doing amazing things, and he adapts his channel. He's been doing it for a long time. He's incredibly popular, but he's not doing the same content he did 4 years ago. He's doing it in a different way. He's working hard to upgrade his video quality. He just hired a new cameraman that's doing great things. The video he did this morning is just incredible. In fact, Mark, will you post that in chat? The David Picciuto from Make Something, his newest video on the table. Some of my other favorite YouTubers, you know, I really like what Ben Ueda is doing with minimal tools and doing modern builds. Chris Salamoni from Four Eyes Furniture is an incredible designer. Shaun Boyd made this. He's a kind of a up-and-coming creator. He builds some of the most beautiful pieces. Just he has an eye for design like nothing else. And actually, we're going to be doing a collaboration coming up that I think is going to be really, really neat. You know, Mark Spagnuolo from the Wood Whisperer. I grew up, he was like the first person I started watching. I binge watched all his videos when I first got going. Samurai Carpenter is one of the best carpenters on the planet. He builds some of the most beautiful stuff. And I love his IDGAF philosophy to things. I love his kind of attitude. I really appreciate anybody who is themselves. And I think that's great. So, SE Collective, after the stop block, what's the next product line? Okay, so you heard it here first. The next one is I'm going to be doing flat pack dovetail alignment boards on CNC. So basically, I'll cut them out so that they go together in only one orientation and 90 degrees. I won't glue them up, but I'll flat pack them and send them out to you guys. So that will be able to keep them very inexpensive. It'll be out of a high-grade plywood, and then you can get it and just glue it together. You can glue the two boards together, glue the fences on, and you'll have a dovetail alignment board. And I think we're going to be able to do that so inexpensively that it's going to be a no-brainer. I mean, it's like the amount of time that it will save you is just incredible. Can you introduce the new camera guy on this live feed? Yes, I can. Mark, will you care? He's going to hate this. That's not true. Guys, this is Mark. He has just come aboard as of a couple weeks ago, and is so good behind a camera, at a computer. He does After Effects stuff. He did that live intro. So this is Mark. Mark, say hi.
What's up?
So that's Mark. All right, get back to work. Thank you very much. I'm so happy to have him. I mean, he has really changed the quality of my content in a major way. I was doing all the editing before Mark came on, and he just came on and really has changed the game. And it's just great because I can focus on creating products and creating content for you guys, which is all I want to do. I love doing this so much, and the community here to me is so special. Like, honestly, I'm like tearing up here because I just love doing this so much. And to me, that's what it's about, is getting content out and teaching what I know. And I know I'm not an expert, but teaching what I know about woodworking. And that's so fun for me. So thank you guys so much. What? 50 viewers. Okay, so ultimate Router Jig Giveaway. Here we go. So you're going to get inceptioned here for 1 second. Let's see here. Screenshot. Oh, inception, baby. All right, so here we go. We have, wow, that view count can't be right. 469,559. There's 654 comments. This is called randomcommentpicker.com. I put the URL in, and we're going to pick the winner. So, are you guys ready? And you have a 25-second delay behind what I'm saying, so you probably are ready. I'm not going to wait for answers on that. So, let's go. So, pick the winner. So, the winner is going to need to message me, and if you're not on this live stream, we will notify you. But here we go. So, how many viewers are there? 51. All right, let's see how far this drops after we do this. B. Templeton. Nice. I think you're on the live stream, aren't you? B. Templeton. That is a great jig. I would put it to good use. Do you have any tips on power tapping the holes? I remember this guy. He's very nice. B. Templeton. Congratulations. All right, guys, don't go away. We're going to give away a bunch of dovetail jigs right now. Stay on the stream. So, the first dovetail jig is Sorry for the inception. Boom. Okay. So first, I'm going to give a dovetail jig. I'm going to put a number between 1 and 100 on this piece of paper. No, that's going to blow up the chat. Okay. How about this, guys? How many people do we have right now, Mark? 51. All right. Well, you guys are probably hearing it now. Oh, yeah, Mike, you were so close. Okay, guys, we're going to give away a bunch here. So we're going to start with this. Anyone who asks a question that I use is going to get a dovetail jig. So I'm going to have Mark write down those usernames, and anybody who asks a question from here on out, up to 5, I'm going to give away 5 dovetail jigs. So here we go. And then we're going to give away more than 5. So I've got a whole box of giveaways here. This is my giveaway box. So these are ones that we put a scratch in or something that I can't quite sell, but they're fully functional and they're great dovetail jigs. They just, maybe the top logo got double stamped or something. So let's go. Lewis, yes, you will have to make your own, but the plans are really, really good. So you should check those out. All right, so SE Collective, winner of the first dovetail jig. Mark, will you write that down? Are you going to package dovetail jigs with shooting boards? We're talking at the Modern Maker event. I might want it if you are. Absolutely. We'll be offering packages. The He-Man just took a nap. We're going to be offering packages on a lot of the things I sell. So we'll be able to do like entire packages where if you get the stop block, the dovetail jigs, and a shooting board. That's another thing I want to work on getting out there is the shooting boards, the magnetic ones. Also plans on those. We're going to be working on packaging those together, so there'll be a discount if you buy the whole thing, that kind of thing. The other thing I'm working on right now actually is apparel. So we're going to do shirts, hats, jock straps. Nah, probably not jock straps, but we're going to be doing a line of apparel that will be great ways to support the show. Like I said, there's very high production cost to this. I don't take sponsorships. I don't monetize my videos. And the way that I justify the cost of doing this, which I love so much, is you guys supporting me through buying things through the store. So thank you so much for that. So, all right. Oh, here we go. Here come the questions. The 25-second delay is hilarious because I could see the late reaction in the comments. Walter Ryder. Walter, did you ask the question about the pin as well? How does the freestanding pin on the router table work? Oh, that was the question. So the freestanding pin on the router table is incredible. And I have it here in the Ultimate Router Jig. So the way this works is it's a support. So basically when you first contact a router bit with your wood, when you're doing edge profiles or bearing guided bits, whether you're template routing, that kind of thing, the board is unsupported. And so if you contact it before the apex of the circle, so let's say the exact center of the circle where you're going to contact it, if you contact it before, you're going to have a bad time because it's going to grab it and it could shoot it out of your hand, it could pull your hand in. I mean, those are extreme cases. Usually it'll just screw your board up. Sorry, it's so hard not to curse on here. It'll usually just screw your board up and end up taking a big chunk out of it. But what the safety pin allows you to do is it gives you a second point of contact. So you can contact there and then slowly bring it in, and that gives you support so that it doesn't come apart. Did you write him down, Mark? Okay. Besides your dovetail jig, what's the next best tool you have for a beginner to do dovetails? Number one is a marking knife, and I actually will send you one. So I'm going to send you a marking knife and a dovetail jig, Brian Connor. So you're going to need to get in contact with me. And the marking knife is so vital. And I did a video, Mark will link it in the chat, called Superior Accuracy in Woodworking. And the reason that marking knives are so important is so this is a brand new Naris marking knife here that we're going to give away. So the reason that a marking knife is so important is it gives you an exact point. It is so exact of where you cannot go over. You can go up to it, but you can't go over it. And so the marking knife is number 2 most important thing for beginners when doing dovetails. A pencil will not do it for you. It's not going to be accurate. And you can use a razor blade. You can use the scribe that is connected in the bottom of your tri-square. So all combo squares have a scribe in them. You can use that. That's a little thick, but a razor blade will work, but definitely do a marking knife. So Brian Connor, good question. And guys, we're giving away stuff today, baby. So, how challenging, this is RJ Tumble, winner of a dovetail jig. How challenging is it to build the router jig? I have the plans, but I haven't started it yet. I'll watch the video again, but wondering how many tools I'll need. Man, it is so simple. Once you have that 1/2-inch piece of acrylic, and you could easily do it with a piece of plywood. It's not, the benefit is you could see through it, but when you cut that hole that your router bit goes through, you'll be able to see through that. But it is so simple. Literally, the only thing that you need is a drill press. If you're going to tap the holes, you need a drill with a tap, and then some sort of a saw to trim the corners. But you don't even have to trim the corners. That's just to cut down on weight. That's just an aesthetic thing. But other than that, if you glue those set of plans on there like I did in the video, it took me, while filming, while getting the shots, while talking, it took me less than an hour. So I did all the hard work on the computer by modeling it for you guys. After that, it's full-size set of plans. You can print it out on your printer and tape them together. They have alignment lines on there through Adobe Acrobat, or you can take it to Kinko's and get it printed for like $4. They have a self-serve machine there, and you can get it printed there. So Ian Flynn, didn't Ian Flynn already win something? No? Do you have any recommendations for low clearance saws? Low clearance saws, I'm not sure I understand the question. I think what you mean is like on the dovetail jig, the back of the saw only goes down so far. The highest clearance saws are Japanese saws, which you see on the wall behind there. They have some without backs on them, as well as the Dozoki razor, which has a 2 1/4 inch clearance, I think. But Veritas makes a great Western saw. Lee Nielsen, of course, makes a great Western saw. Rob Cosman makes an insane dovetail saw that, I mean, that's very expensive, but it's gorgeous, and it has much thinner teeth in the first inch or so, I think, and so it makes starting the cut a lot easier, and then once you get into it, you can get through it faster. So, oh wow, a lot of questions here. Awesome. All right, let me find it. How many have we given away? 5. Okay. Well, let's do 5 more. All right, 5 more. Guys, this is a lot of fun. This is my first live stream. I'm having a good time, and it's so awesome that you guys are spending this time with me. I really appreciate it. So, Jason Bacon, we're not counting this as a winner, but I already said that earlier in the live stream. It was the Axiom Pro 6 for what CNC machine. Okay, let's see. Oh, here you go, Jason Bacon, firing the questions. We'll do Jason Bacon here. Where do you get the ideas for your projects? So, whether you're talking about like actual like woodworking builds, furniture builds, that kind of thing, or the jigs I make on the kind of tools that I make, like this Moxon vise. As far as ideas go, whatever is aesthetically pleasing to me. You know, when I look at things, I find things that are aesthetically pleasing. But I think that going beyond the norm and going beyond what you find all over the place is an important thing for people to do. And the way that I do it is I look at the things that I think are either useful or pleasing, and I go, what can I do to make that my own? What can I do to add a spin to that is unique to me. And I think one of those things was like the stone inlay memory box I did, Mark, which if you could link that. I built that for my brother on his wedding day. And that to me was so fun because I had done little stone inlays before, but I had never done intersecting patterns, and that was interesting to think about how to do with the 24-hour set time on the epoxy. The other thing is when I look at tools, sorry, my wife just texted me or my mom, I don't know, they're both saved under ice in case of emergency, so I'm not sure who just texted me. It totally threw me off. For tools, I find things that are useful and multiple things, and I go, how can I combine those? So for the router jig, for example, I looked up all the router jigs I could and found out their different functions, and I said, how can I combine those into one thing? And that's what I did with the dovetail jig. Is I said, okay, there's 4 cuts, and I made 4 blocks for them, and then I said, well, how can I put this in one thing? And that's how the dovetail jig came about. But it's about pushing yourself and thinking about things, and also just do some design work before you hit the shop. I mean, draw stuff and make it so that you can see the way that it looks. So, great question. Message retracted. All right, shooting board plans would be great. Those are coming. Addy Unix moment asks, what saw do you like, Japanese or Western? Japanese all day, baby. It just is, it's easier to cut on a pull stroke. It doesn't bind up the saw. It's much thinner cut, which I feel like makes me more accurate. And it's so much less expensive. I mean, these Japanese saws you see on the wall here, none of them were more than 40 bucks. I've had them for a couple years. You could replace the blades on them, but honestly, they just get the job done. The double-sided Japanese saw, I'm not familiar. I can't remember the name at the moment, but the larger teeth really rip their boards when you want to get through like a rip cut real fast, and then they have the cross-cut side on them. And so I use those a lot when I'm rough dimensioning and I have a 15-foot board that would be unwieldy to cut my table saw or a chop saw or something like that. I'll just go out there and rough break down stuff by hand. It would only take a couple seconds longer. So, Jason Bailey, what's your stance on dovetail angles? Do you really need to switch angles for softwood or hardwood? This is like a chicken or the egg debate. I mean, I personally, to me, it's more about figure and grain direction than anything. More figured wood, the more the grain is all over the place, the more chance your saw is going to wander during your cut. So then I go with a much steeper angle like the 8-to-1. If it's a nice straight grain piece of hardwood that's sort of plain, I'll go with 6-to-1 because it gives a much more dimension to the dovetails, and it makes them more pronounced. So you can really be like, yeah, this is handmade, baby. I cut this thing. So I think that's really great. So, are you getting Giaco's maker knife? Ordered 4, baby. So not only am I getting them, but I also got some gifts for some other people that I'm going to be seeing in Atlanta for IWF. Who's going to IWF? I want to meet up. I want to have a beer or a soda. I don't know what you're into, but IWF in Atlanta is going to be a blast. I'll be there August 23rd through the 26th. So I think I know one person in chat, Mike Allen Templeton, will be going. And the whole thing I think is going to be great. I know I'm going to be meeting up with some other YouTube creators and having a good time. So it'll be really cool for me because I want to see some of those new manufacturing processes and sort of use material production methods that I see at IWF to sort of come up with new ideas and see what materials are available for me for creating. What's that? One more to give away? Okay, so Jamie Gonzalez, I don't know if you're trolling, but my friend borrowed my Katz-Moses dovetail jig. What's the best way to get it back? Well, you, my friend, just won a dovetail jig. Let's put 5 more on the clock, Mark. How many people do we have in there? 54? Awesome. All right, so we got 5 more to give away, bringing the total to 15 dovetail jigs. So, let's see. Amy Vet 76, what is your favorite wood to work with? Amy, are you a veterinarian or a veteran? Either way, thank you for your service. Whether you're keeping animals safe or our country safe, I appreciate it. What is your favorite wood to work with? Walnut all day. It just, it's not too hard, it's not too soft, it's beautiful. I mean, walnut all day. It's so gorgeous. The darkness of it, the natural richness, the place where kind of you see that branches have come out and you get that crazy figured grain is so cool. Plus, I just milled up a 100-year-old walnut tree. I have like 76 slabs over there on my website. And honestly, it's just some of the most beautiful wood I've ever made. In fact, the Nakashima stool that I made that I'm actually sitting on is all walnut and just so beautiful. I put a shellac finish on it, which is maybe not the best finish for a shop stool, but still just the way that wood looks naturally with just a slight oil to it, to me, is just so gorgeous. So, Amy, you are a veteran of the Army. Thank you for your service. I really appreciate it. Michael Newdigate, what coping saw blades do you use? The only ones I seem to find have a wide curve compared to my Japanese saws. Well, it depends on what you're using. So last time I did a 10K giveaway, I gave away my 5-inch New Concepts coping saw, and I regret it substantially because I got the 6.5-inch, which is, I mean, it gets cuts done, but it's just the blade is so much thicker. So I'm gonna go back to the 5-inch. If you look on Amazon, there's like a 25 pack of blades, and they have different TPIs, and there's 2 in there that just fit nicely in a Japanese kerf. And so what I can do is I get in there, and then as I get to the bottom, I just drop the side of the saw so it's at a 90, and then it just comes out perfect. So, no need to, let's see. Good question. That was Michael Newdigate. Jamie, you're making me laugh. Ian C, what joinery technique do you enjoy cutting the most? I mean, dovetails number 1, but if I had to pick, okay, so let's go with this. Dovetails for visual, beautiful joinery. For a utility joint, if I'm just trying to get things done, box joints are phenomenal. Gosh, one thing I don't really like to cut is miters. I feel like miters have the ability to sort of have gaps in them or sand funny. I do them, and I'm not opposed to them by any means, but when I can avoid using a miter, I do, because I think that it just gives a lot more strength, and I love joinery. Joinery is just really fun for me. So taking the time to do a piece that has a lot of joinery, I think is great. I'll be at IWF. Jay Rumble, awesome, man. I saw Mark Spagnola's going as well. Yeah, I did see that as well. And Mike Allen Templeton, I know you're going. I think we're going to have dinner. And let's see. No, not Charlie. Wow, thank you. Jamie, you really let your friend take your Katz-Moses dovetail jig? I'm displeased with you, my friend. You should never let those out of your sight. I think all of my family members have taken one, and they have them on their fridges and things like that. So it's funny when I go over to their house and they'll have like an old version of the dovetail jig stuck to the fridge. That always gives me good, that always pleases me. So and Antoine Poitras, what are your favorite type of dovetails to cut? Through, half blind, blind, houndstooth, inlay. Inlay all day, baby. I do want to try houndstooth. I'm going to show you something. You might have seen it on my Instagram. Hold on 10 seconds. I'll be right back. You can probably still hear me. Oh God, we have a disaster over here. So here we come. All right, so there was a time where all I did was cut inlaid dovetails, and I have a box of them because this is great proof of the fact that practice makes perfect, because I cut. So first, these were my first inlaid dovetails, and I like these. They were great, but I really wanted to do something with some more geometry to it. So I did these again. These were for the video I did on inlaid dovetails. And then this was the first time I tried to do double inlaid dovetails the other way. It came out terrible. Then this one, which also came out terrible by turning it into a dovetail alignment board. I then figured it out here. Came out with these, which are my favorite to do. But I didn't cut a rabbet in the back so you can see the inlay. I wish I'd cut a rabbet. And then finally, this took me, I think, 11 tries and 2 months to do, and I'm going to do a video on this. So these guys, which are my quadruple inlaid dovetails, and this might break your brain because it looks so 3D, but these things are just, I want to do a box in them. They take a long time, and there's a high rate of failure on these because you really can't do it without a dovetail jig, because you need to do equal spacing, which then requires equal measurement. So I think that it really takes deep concentration to get those done. So inlaid dovetails it is. So let's see. Pat Link, we already did the giveaway. Just so you know, it was B Templeton. And when I post this video, I'll put the link as to where it is so that people don't have to search through this whole video of me giving away dovetail jigs and screaming over the air conditioner, which I did finally get an air conditioner. Things are getting so much better here. This shop's in a steel box. Oh, it'll be like 85 outside and 110 in here. And we have to close the doors and windows for shooting video, so it'll be like every 5 minutes we have to go outside and fan off, and I bring like 4 shirts to work, which is why I have so many Carhartt shirts that you always see me wearing. It's because I get them in the same color so that throughout a video I can look cleaner on video. Let's see. Oh, wow. Pat Link. Who's Pat Link again? It is. I teach woodworking at high school using mostly handwork joinery. Pat, send me an email. I will donate to your school. I love to support any type of learning environment. So please email me, Pat, and I will do something real special for you guys. I mean, I don't know if you'll think it's special, but I'll give you a big care package that will take care of the students. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Send me an email, jonathan@Katz-Moses-woodworking.com. Thank you so much, Pat. And great job teaching the youth of tomorrow. They need a good talking to. And I feel like being a maker is sort of a growing field. You know, the maker movement is a growing field. So I think it's really great to offer those programs to young adults, because it allows them to see the joy in making things without kind of getting sucked into the whole, you know, being stuck to a computer screen all the time. And I think it's great. So good work, Pat. Let's see. Let's see. Pat, dream job. It is. Good job, Pat. Okay, Brian O'Mahony, great question. Do you manufacture your jigs yourself, or are they outsourced? So for about a year, I made every single dovetail jig from wood, start to finish. Now they're made in a mold, but the only part of the process is done in a mold. So basically the form is done. There's a kind of, the top of them are unfinished. So what we do, and by the way, I do it locally, like 13 minutes from my shop. There's a great guy out of Carpinteria, California, just south of me, who makes all this stuff for me, and he's a brilliant guy. Spracker Engineering, if you ever need help with that kind of, you know, prototyping, that kind of thing, make sure you told him I sent you. But he makes them on a mold, and I get all raw forms. We then chamfer the corners and clean them here and kind of do QC. I then take them over to the local technology museum, and they have this beautiful Trotec laser. I'm actually going to be teaching some classes there coming up, but they have a beautiful 120 watt Trotec Speedy 360. It's got a 2x3 bed, and the thing is lightning fast. I can do a whole plate of 84 jigs in 24 minutes and 35 seconds. So we do that there. So kind of half of the beginning stages are done outsourced, but very locally here in America and in my same county. And then we finish them off here at the shop and do the quality control. And then we distribute them as ourselves. So every morning we come in and ship them out. So, what? We gave away 15. Let me see how many I have in this box here. I'd love to liquidate all of these. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20, 15. Okay, we can give away 5 more. Let's do 5 more. So, man, you guys are going to crush me on shipping, but that's okay. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. SC Collective, I won't be letting mine out of my sight. Yeah, man. Who's lending out their dovetail jig again? You guys are nuts. So, let's see here. 57 people in the chat. I love it. Still going up. All right. What happened to my questions? There we go. Jason Villeneuve, how many iterations of the dovetail jig did you go through? Ha! I'll show you. The dovetail jig was, of course, an ongoing process. This is kind of the iterations here. So first was this one that had no magnets on it. I had 4 different blocks for cutting all 4 of the cuts, 3 of the cuts, pins, tails, and shoulders. And then the next one was this one where I tried to veneer over the magnets, and that didn't work. No, I'm sorry, it was this one. And I put 3 magnets in there. They were sort of low hold magnets. They were no good. And then I tried to veneer over the magnets. That didn't work. Oh, I'm sorry, this was the first one, which is so terrible. I cut it on a bandsaw and stuck square magnets in there. I don't even think it has the same angles. But it was proof of concept, and it was like very early in my woodworking career, so the only wood I had, I was totally broke. The only wood I had was this like scrap, really terrible cabinets I'd found in a dumpster somewhere, so I made it out of that. And then these 2, and then this was what I first started selling, was this one, and it had the angle of the tails was this way, and it was great, but somebody wrote me, this guy Dutch Horse, I don't think he YouTubes anymore, but he wrote me, he was like, why don't you just flip it over, and then you don't need a support board on the ends to cut your tails. I was like, holy Toledo, you're right. And so I did very quickly. About 2 weeks after releasing this one, I went to this one, which had the angle the other way. This was a custom one I made for Dustin Penner and Matt Cremona, so this is one of only 3 that were ever made. And then I came up with the one you see today, which is the clear one. And the clear one is BA, man. It's made out of the same material as pool balls. It's really beautiful, and it's just, it just lasts. And one of the things that people always, not people always, but people write me sometimes and say, oh, I scratched it. It doesn't matter, you know, it's so durable. But the important thing to do when you're cutting your dovetails is to start your saw first. So I always start my saw where it goes and then slide the jig up to it, and that'll save on wear on your jig. So great question. So thanks, Jamie. Good work. Sorry, the chat is so small, and I have decent eyes, but I can barely see this. Let's see. Let's see here. Jamie, everybody sent Cam some love. Thank you, Jamie. Pat, yeah, baby. Pat, I don't care that you're in the UK. I will ship. I really, people always go, oh, I won't ship outside the US. I will, Pat. I will. So I'll ship you some jigs for your students. How many students do you have, Pat? When you email me, let's discuss your program and let's see how I can best be of service to you, because I'll send you whatever you need. So let me know. I'm setting up a makerspace in school, Pat. Awesome. Oh, here's a good question. Matt Becker asks, I don't have a workbench. I'm renting a single car garage, wife's car taking up that space. Any suggestions for using hand tools, saw planes, chisels when you don't have a solid workbench? Okay, so first off, build a boxing device if you can. I did a great video on that. Mark will link that in the comments. Build a box device. It is great. And you can put that on a table. If you're doing hand tool work and not sanding, like if you're just cutting shavings and stuff, you can work on your kitchen table. You just clamp a box and vise bench down, put something soft under it so it doesn't scratch the surface, and shavings are really easy to sweep up. So you'll keep your work very contained. If you don't have a solid workbench, and I still don't have a solid workbench, you guys see that my shop's just too small to build the workbench I want, and I'm not willing to invest money in it until I have the shop size that I need to make a real Rubo. But one of the things that I do is I'll put weights on the bottom of my terrible bench, or I'll screw it to the wall so that it doesn't move. That's a great one. Or, you know, what I used to do when I had a 9x12 shed that I was working out of, you see my first videos on YouTube, I was in a 9x12 shed. I would use my table saw, because that was very solid. I very stupidly was like, I need a 52-inch saw stop there, so I somehow got it in there. And I would just use that because it was very stable, and the top of the bench was really flat. I would just be really careful not to get glue on it or scratch it. So I would use my table saw a lot, which is a great idea. So, let's see. Let's see. Srini, go watch the router tips and tricks video I just did. There's so much advice in there, you'll lose it. Stuff and Things Workshop, great question. Are you a proponent for buy once, cry once when purchasing tools, or should people start with affordable tools first? Basically buy the first best or the cheap to start. Okay, this is a question I get all the time, and here's the best answer I can give you, is if it's a lifetime tool, get the best one you can. So for a table saw, you don't have to buy a saw stop, which is $2,700 to have a great table saw, but maybe don't go cheap on a table saw, because that's really going to affect your work. If you do buy cheap, just learn how to make sure it's square, learn how to use it, and you'll learn the tricks. When I started, I bought a Ryobi refurbished 10-inch table saw for $87, and I got that done for about a year. I did a lot of projects on just that. But buy the best you can afford for tools, and then for bits, and the reason with tools, let me elaborate, is those are resellable. So you're not completely losing that $500 forever, or that $1,000 forever, or that $100 forever, because you'll be able to resell it for some portion of that. So you're basically renting it until you decide to sell it again and upgrade. But with things like router bits, as I said in my router tips and tricks video, I start with a set of the cheapest ones, and then not quite the cheapest, but a very low-priced set, which is linked in the video, and I replace the ones that I use all the time, and those are great. They'll work for a project or two projects. You know, I have some that I still use because I for stuff that I don't need to be perfect, you know, but those will work great until you realize you're like, okay, so I use the 3/4 inch straight bit all the time for cutting dados for plywood, and I use, of course, the flush trim bit all the time. So those are the ones I'm going to go buy, really good ones. And just flush trim bits, buy good ones if you can, because the bearings will bust up in the middle of the cut on the cheap ones after a few uses. This is my pride and joy router bit, the white side ultimate combination trim router. It's about 170 bucks, but this thing is so next level that if you're doing tons of template routing, I highly suggest it. So good idea. So the workmate is thank you, Mike. Let's see. see. So the Workmate's good, huh, guys? I'll have to check that out. Okay, so we're going to do 2 questions here. Let's see. We're going to start with Richard Iverson. Do people ever drop by your shop to see you work, and where are you located? Okay, I'm in Goleta, California. Honestly, shop visits are tough because I work 12 hours a day. I mean, yesterday I worked from 6:15 to I got home at 6:45, and we're cranking that whole time in here. Mark and I are cranking out content. We're editing. We're working, so it's tough. I really occasionally I'll let somebody come by for like 5-minute visit in the morning, but it's tough, and honestly, it just sort of gets in the way of workflow. And not that I don't appreciate it, but it's just I feel like if I opened that up to kind of interpretation, I feel like it would just get out of hand really quickly. So I don't really like to do it, but occasionally I'll make an exception. So what?
You gave out 20.
We gave out 20 dovetail jigs. I think there's 1 or 2 more in there. So let's see. Do you have an education in design manufacturing? All the products you've come out with are impressive. Phil LaRosa, thank you. And no, I don't. I just get annoyed when things are inefficient, and I just want to make them better. So I kind of, over the last 2 years, have had a crash course in manufacturing and sort of designing using Fusion 360. I've taught myself kind of 3D modeling software, and it's been a process, but it's fun, and honestly, I love jumping off the deep end. So if I see something I want, I'm just going to go for it, always. And if I see something that I think should be better, I'm going to go for it. Shaun Boyd and I are working on a product right now that's going to be really neat. Can't let you know about that yet. I don't want anybody to jump on it before me, but I like making things more efficient, and inefficiency really bothers me. So I just jump in and learn as I go. I mean, the internet's such a valuable resource. I mean, that's kind of my business right now is teaching things on the internet. So just so much content out there. You can really learn a lot without having to go to a traditional school setting. I mean, I barely graduated high school, did a lackluster 1.5 years at City College here in Santa Barbara, and just sort of hit the ground running. So that's sort of how I learned. Great question. So Phil LaRosa, dude, I did a shop tour like 5 videos ago. Just kidding. Let's see here. I teach Fusion 360 engineering, great problem. Pat, how about we trade the dovetail jigs for some Fusion 360 help? Actually, Pat, we should talk. I love getting involved in schools. I just started working with this program called, oh God, what's the name? What's that business card on my desk say? Youth Interactive. If you can, go donate to them. It basically takes kind of disadvantaged youth, kids who have been in juvie, and teaches them to be entrepreneurs through business management and making things. And so basically, through donations to the program, the kids get a basic paycheck, and then they learn how to manage their business sort of both administratively and with producing whatever product it is that they decide to produce. So very cool program. I like Hollister Brewing Company, good food. Kyle, you are very correct, delicious. Let's see, SE Collective. What are you and Shaun gonna make for the collab? You're just gonna have to wait and find out. I mean, honestly, we're gonna make a Prius, a Toyota Prius out of wood. So, just kidding. Shop apron would rock as well. Do you have any plans to go into apparel? Yes, apparel is going to be coming out soon, and we're going to do some cool stuff. Well, tell me what you guys think about this. So I love the term man glitter mafia. So I was thinking about doing that. That might be too Logan Paul. I don't know. Maybe it's too douchebaggy, but I like the term. I think it would be pretty funny. You could do really funny shirts, maybe like an outline of Nick Offerman's face or something. I think that there's maybe something there. So let me know what you think about that. Who else is studying the wall behind him for tips? Dan, what do you want to know, buddy? This is how you make the least efficient hand plane storage space on the planet. This is sort of our video backdrop, which is why it's set up the way it is. But if I wasn't doing content creation, I would definitely create a kind of tool cabinet. So, Mike Allen Templeton, you're right, man. Aprons, they'd be really cool. There's this guy on Instagram who I've been talking to who makes aprons. Dragonfly Woodworks. They made the ones that Jay Bates wears, and custom-made leather aprons. That's a one-time buy kind of thing. They're expensive, but really good. So, what? 22? We gave them out. Okay, I think that's all I got, guys. But I'll keep answering questions. The 58 of you that are here, I really appreciate it, man. You guys are the man glitter mafia. Let's see. I want to win. Are you still doing giveaway? Yeah, man. If anybody is like a designer and wants to send me shirt ideas, if you give me a great design, we can work something out. So if anybody is into that, yeah. If you want my logo, I can send it to you in a PNG. I just send it to you in a vector file. So if anybody wants to design shirts, that would be really cool. Man Glitter Mafia shop apron. Loftbrook aprons are great. I'm gonna have to check that out. I got an apron I really like, and I did a video on it, but it wasn't real expensive apron. I have a lot of apron companies reach out to me for some reason, and they never want to pay. They just want to send me an apron and have me do a full review on it, and it's just so annoying. Para Wood Crate. Do you have a favorite brand of spoke shave? Honestly, I haven't done much spoke shaves. I've heard the Lee Nielsen are great and the Veritas are great, but you know, I don't really know. I don't know that I don't do a lot of round work, I guess. So I'm gonna have to start doing that. Jason Bacon. I have a shirt that says "Sawdust is my man glitter." Awesome. Man Glitter Mafia for life. Awesome. Personally, I want Samurai Carpenter's vest. Seems like an awesome tool vest. Yeah, I mean, I wanted him to do that too. The thing was awesome, and he didn't seem to be able to put it together into a manufacturing standpoint, and I don't know why that was. I imagine because it's ridiculously hard to make that, so you would have to go overseas to really make it anywhere near affordable for somebody, and sometimes dealing with overseas manufacturers is really hard, and I've done a little bit of looking into that, and you know, it's really difficult without actually going over there and touching and feeling products. Otherwise, the sample process takes months and months and months and months, and so I don't know why he never was able to get that out, because it would be a massive seller. I mean, just everybody wants that vest. It's so cool. So, Amy, not a veterinarian, thank you. I really appreciate that. Guys, I think I'm going to cut it there. What have we done here? We've done an hour. Oh, David Hammond has a great question. David, what's your question? Do you use SketchUp? I used to. SketchUp changed their licensing format, so it would be... It's just not... SketchUp doesn't play well with others. Fusion 360 is free for hobbyists. Use it, and it does everything you could ever grow into. So not only can you 3D model like SketchUp, you can then go to CAM drawings where you could get quotes for manufacturing 2D profiles. You can go to G-code, so you can go to your CNC, your laser cutter, or your 3D printer. Use Fusion. It's the best program to learn, and it's not going anywhere. You can, it's what car manufacturers use. You can stress test joints. You can put in materials. You can get weights of everything. So Fusion 360 is, I think, the best. So what's on your workshop music playlist? You know, one of the bummer things about shooting videos, you don't get to really have music on while you're shooting. So obviously for licensing reasons, and the audio would mess with my audio. But I'm a big blues fan. I used to be on the Santa Barbara Blues Society. I love hard rock, you know, like everything from kind of Rage Against the Machine to Led Zeppelin to any sort of blues. If you influenced hard rockers, as far as blues goes, like Tab Benoit is really good. You know, I love more modern rocky blues, but I love a lot of music. Hip hop, I'm kind of into hip hop. I love Jay-Z and a lot of different hip hop artists. I lean more towards the 90s West Coast and sort of East Coast style rap. So Carbonite Gimorian, stop in to say, hey, too much noise here to listen. Have a good weekend. All right, buddy. Thank you for this awesome live stream. Thank you, Mike. All right, guys. BB King. Oh, my God. Of course, I've seen BB King on his 80th birthday tour. Blast. Guys, thank you so much, honestly. If you had your question asked, Mark wrote down everybody. You can email me. We'll get those jigs out to you. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. On the next live stream, we're going to be doing same kind of thing. Questions. We'll give stuff away. It'll be a blast. So thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Have a wonderful day. And